Hey everyone, how are you? Here your teacher Amita. Again you are invited to my channel Passion, and today I'm going to teach you first chapter question answers of The Portrait of a Lady from your book Hornbill. Yes, my dear learners, subscribe the channel, hit the bell button to get the new uploaded videos information. Yes, of course, learning is a fun. So why not to have a fun today? Yes, dear learners, today I'm going to teach you the question answers of The Portrait of a Lady. Let's start. Now you can see on the screen that I have written all the questions on the screen. First question: the three phases of the author's relationship with his grandmother before Lai left else country to study abroad. Yes, dear learner, you can see on the screen. Answer is the three phases of the author's relationship with his grandmother before he left the country to abroad. The first was childhood, when he went to the village school and the grandmother helped him to get ready and went to school with him. But this was the phase when he was a child. Second, boyhood, when he went to the city school in a bus. He shared a room with his grandmother, but she could no longer help him in his studies because he now grew up. That's why he was not helped by his grandmother. The third stage, early youth, when he went to the university and was given a room of his own. The common link of friendship between grandmother and grandson was snapped. This was the first question. I hope that you have understood the answer. Now I'm coming to the next question. That is, three reasons why the author's grandmother was disturbed when he started going to the city school. Why the author's grandmother was disturbed? Yeah, she was disturbed because in the village, I think you remember that she helped him a lot in his studies also, and she went with him to the school. She spent her time in the temple. But now, when he went to the city school, she could not help. Let's have the answer. The three reasons why the author's grandmother was disturbed when he started going to the city school are: number one, she hated Western science and learning. She was pained to know that there was no teaching of God and the scripture there. Means in city school, scriptures were not taught. There was science and learning of such subjects which were not taught by the grandmother. She was not able to teach these subjects. She was allergic to music. She didn't like music. She thought it was not meant for decent people and gentlefolk. It was the monopoly of prostitutes and beggars. Means she thought that music was the job of prostitutes and beggars. Third point, three ways in which the author's grandmother spent her days after he grew up. What were the three ways? The three ways in which the author's grandmother spent her days when he grew up are: number one, she lived alone in her room as she had accepted her loneliness quietly. She sat at her spinning wheel telling prayers. In the afternoon, she would feed the sparrows for half an hour. So these were the ways in which the author's grandmother spent her days after he grew up. Next was, in the afternoon, she would feed the sparrows for half an hour. When it was afternoon, the grandmother recited her prayers and she fed the sparrows for half an hour. One point is left, that is here. Let me show you. Yes. Now it is here. You can see she accepted herself In the loneliness, she spent her time quietly there. Fine. So this is the point. I will show you again. She lived alone in her room as she had accepted her loneliness quietly. Means she wanted to spend her time in loneliness. Okay. So, now I'm coming to the next one. That is the odd ways in which the author's grandmother behaved just before she died. Means what were the strange ways she behaved when she was going to die? The answer is just before her death. You can see, just before her death, the author's grandmother refused to talk to them. Here you can see. So she did not talk to anybody. Since she had omitted to pray the previous night while she was singing songs of homecoming and beating the drum, she was not going to waste any more time. She ignored their protest. Her family members were protesting. Don't do such, Dadi. Just stop, grandmother. Don't beat the drum. Don't sing such songs. But she did not stop. She lay peacefully in bed, praying and telling the beads. Fine. Now, the next question. Question number 5. The way in which the sparrows expressed their sorrow, the author's grandmother died. You know, when the author's grandmother died, what was the sorrows were expressed by the birds. They also expressed the sorrows because they were also totally connected with the grandmother. Now the answer is, thousands of sparrows sat silently surrounding the dead body of the author's grandmother. You know, thousands of sparrows. Now what happened then? There was no chirping. You know, there was no chirping. They all were silent. Who were silent? Birds. The author's mother threw some crumbs of bread to them. She offered crumbs to the birds. But what happened? The birds, they took no notice of them. They took no notice of them. As soon as the grandmother collapsed was carried off, as soon as the grandmother's corpse was carried off, they flew away quietly. Thus, the sparrow expressed their sorrow. So, we can see that the sorrows of birds were also seen there. They were also very sad, they were very miserable because their grandmother, who used to feed these sparrows, left for the next journey. So, my dear learners, this was the descriptions of the question answers of your chapter, The Portrait of the Lady. So dear learners, today we have completed the question answers of The Portrait of the Lady. Now, let me tell you, we will learn more also of your subject. And definitely I'm going to make so many good videos to make you understand about your chapters, about the content matter, about the question answers, and we will do grammar section also. Fine. Now it's your duty, it's your obligation. Just subscribe my channel, like, share and comment, and hit the bell button. Keep learning, keep watching, and yes, learning is fun time. Let's have the fun time.